So it's been an exciting week. One of the things I did this week was I went to Kamloops and obviously came back since I'm here right now. But it was a beautiful drive. It's my favorite drive. It could be that I grew up with family in Edmonton, living in Abbotsford, but we drove that a lot when I was a kid. And in the last few years, living in Kamloops and having family in Abbotsford, I drove it even more. And yeah, it can be a pretty nasty drive, but I love it. It's truly, truly gorgeous. Even on those rainy, snowy days, it is beautiful. It's the kind of thing that it makes you want to stick your fingers out the window, as if you could like scrape your fingertips across the edge of the mountains and the trees, just to see what it feels like. It's the kind of thing where you kind of think, am I going to get into a car accident because I'm looking around so much? I don't do that, don't worry. But really, really, it's kind of like riding in a toy car along an asphalt ribbon that flows through the mountains and trees by the river. The sky and the landscape are so vivid and real that they are surreal. And every time, since I was a kid, every time I go through there, I want to paint. I'm not a painter, but that place, that stretch, it just makes me want to paint. It makes me want to capture the grandeur in a creative way that gives of myself. There's something about that stretch. The only thing is, there's no way one picture or one painting could capture that. Because it's about 200 kilometers, the specific stretch I'm thinking of. And there are many mountains and many trees and waterfalls and rivers. And when the snow hits the sun, or the sun hits the snow, it just sparkles a little bit, like someone spread glitter on it. So there's no way, even if I was a painter, that I could do that. There's no way, even if I was a renowned photographer, that I could capture that. But there's always, always that urge to try. In Celtic spirituality, this would be something called a thin place. A thin place is where the border between heaven and earth is thin, it's narrow. There's a lot less between humanity and divinity than in other places. I think the Coquihalla is surrounded by a thin place. Have any of you had a thin place experience that you might want to share? Anybody?
You're saying thin place, and there is a mountain in the center of Coquihalla that I've been at the very top of. It's called Thin Mountain.
Thin Mountain, center of Coquihalla. See? This is even more fitting than I thought.
Years ago, driving from high level to Hay River, I experienced a similar thing. I was driving through, it was in the fall, and the leaves were unbelievably colorful. And I got home and I told my mom, I says, I drove through a painting. You just felt God was all around you.
Thank you. Any others? These are, yeah, Carl.
Three Valley Gap.
Sorry, say again?
Three Valley Gap. There's three valleys that come together. There's mountains. You're right adjacent to the mountains, no matter where you are. It's brilliant.
All right. Well, we're obviously mountain people, huh? Because I know my grandma would say, she would share about a canola field, in particular outside of Bentley, and how it just rolls, and it's like an ocean of yellow surrounded by bright blue. thin places are all around. And more particularly, they have to do with us too, whether we're open to it. And I think our Transfiguration passage is a thin moment or a thin place. It is on the top of a mountain, which is bonus for us because that's easier for us to identify. Especially for folks like me who like to hike and adventure and walk through the woods and touch trees and rocks. In this one moment of transfiguration, in this one moment, heaven and earth meet in the form of Jesus. It's a crossroads between Epiphany and Lent. It's when humanity and divinity are one. It's this moment on a mountaintop when the power of the sun shines through the sun. And that's pretty cool. And Peter, one of the few people who was there, responds kind of like I do when I drive the Coca-Colas. We should make a monument. I'll make a monument for each one of you because there's 3 of you and this is so spectacular. We have to commemorate this. We have to capture this. And nobody really tells Peter, that's a silly idea. But for some reason, he drops it. And I'm not sure if it's Jesus' conversation going back down the mountain saying, I know you've had this amazing vision and experience, but keep it to yourself until after the crucifixion and resurrection. Or maybe he realized, like me, that it could not be captured. Not in a monument, not in a painting or a picture, not even in a sermon with words that strive to capture it. There's no way to really convey such grandeur and holiness to someone else without sharing who you are and the peace and love you experience during that moment. I'm not totally sure what it is about us humans, but we like to have tokens. We like to have memorials, statues, photographs. We like to try to take a snapshot of those moments to hold on to forever, as if such a fleeting thing can be held on to forever in an object, in an image, in a structure. I don't know, maybe there's safety behind a camera lens or in front of a canvas. Maybe you don't have to face the awesomeness of it if you are making a monument, if you are paying tribute in a very physical sense. Or maybe it's our way of saying, everything changes, but surely this must live on. Surely this is eternal. But the best part about these moments is they are eternal. Whether we're able to photograph them, or paint them, or create a stone monument, whether we're able to carve them, or describe them, or write a poem, they are eternal because they change us forever. They transfigure us. And it's not necessarily the place. It's not our mood. It's the Holy Spirit. It's God. And in those moments, sometimes you can almost feel that light coming out of you, as if it's a palpable thing. So, I don't have to worry about painting the Coca-Cola. I don't even want to try, because it will always fall short. I mean, I can paint stick figures in any color you like, but I'm not even going to attempt that, because I know it's not going to fill my need. And I think Peter likely felt the same thing after he said, let me build some monuments. One for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. he probably realized there was no monument in the world that could capture such a moment, such a vision, such a feeling. So of course, the question is, the question that really matters, the question we should put our money on, is so what do we do when divinity shines so brightly that we must pay attention? What do we do when divinity shines so brightly that it changes us forever? What do we do when heaven and earth unite? Even in a moment. We can either try to create some inanimate totem to try to, get some kind of facsimile of what it was. Or we can carry it with us always, in who we are and what we do, and how we live our lives. I think this children's story, Something from Nothing, is incredibly profound. Because even though Joseph lost his button at the end that started out as a blanket and moved to a coat and a vest and a tie and a handkerchief, even though that's gone, and he does not have a remembrance of it, that bond of love and trust he has with his grandfather will always be with him. It has helped shape him and form him. It has given him something from nothing. Clever title. Very fitting. The only thing is, this all sounds so wonderful. We get to be changed by God's light. We get to carry it with us always. But the only problem with that is you have to act on it. Because building a monument isn't enough. That's a finite thing. Living a life, on the other hand, is ongoing. It is a challenge. It is living the change. And that's something that we're not very good at as church. Right? So we're very good at saying, this was an amazing moment, let's do this again every year for the next 15 years until we forget why we started it in the first place and until people are burnt out and sick of it. And we do this with the very best of intentions. And for the first couple of years, it's usually nice. But then we wear away at what we were doing in the first place until you can't even see it anymore. So living this light, living this transfiguration involves diving into the change. Accepting that the only consistency is change and a dynamic Holy Spirit. It means we might have to let go of things. Crazy, huh? Or it means we might have to embrace new things. Perhaps new things that look kind of like the old things, but not quite. Or maybe it means we will have to challenge what we have known to be true for a long time. Maybe, now heaven forbid, maybe it means that we have to listen to each other and hear how each and every one of us has experienced that light. So yesterday, a bunch of us were gathered for a wonderful event, the Theological Banquet. And its main conversation has to do with how we all approach God and church differently. And how there's no right or wrong answer. See, my idea of church might be totally different than Chris's idea of church, and we might clash on that. But we have to remember that it is God and God's work we are called to do. We have to remember to see the divinity within each other and at work around us, so that we can have both of our visions of church work together not in opposition. So here's the fun and hard part. We're going to do some visioning and mission work over the next probably 10 years. And this is not a quick process, but I have sent out an email, so it has started. We are going to do this work together. Because this is the kind of work that we need to be doing all the time. We need to be looking to those moments of transfiguration and seeing how to live from then on with each other, given that transformation. And we're not always going to agree. But that's okay, as long as we do it respectfully. And it might not be an easy process, but that's okay. Easy is actually quite overrated. Easy doesn't have much growth room to it. Easy doesn't have as much transformation. But we don't have to worry about that stuff. That will come whether we plan on it or not. All we need to focus on right now is that transformative light that Jesus has brought and continues to bring to us. And then we need to live it. God's grace abounds, and now it's our turn. So be transformed. Live the light.